Hey, Deserving listeners, Love is Blind. Let's watch.
Where is this coming from?
I'm just wondering.
Okay. I want us to have time, like, for us.
I do need to talk to my doctor about birth control then.
No. Yeah, we can't play these risky.
You
can't play in these risky ass games.
Yeah, we're kind of risking it.
Yeah.
So I didn't really want to go back on birth control.
Hey, they're having a good conversation about kids, and it sounds like they're both planning, or at least they're telling each other they're planning on saying yes at the altar, which is interesting to hear. And they're talking about birth control. She says, I'm going to have to talk with my doctor about birth control. And then she said, we're kind of risking things. Normally in my world, what that would mean is that they are not using any contraception and are either using the rhythm method and or pull-out method or something. But we saw on, was it season 6 with Johnny and Amy? Well, anyway, I think for some people, what risking it means is condoms. And yeah, on average, it's a bigger risk than if one was to use hormones, but pretty low risk if you use it right. Anyway, so I don't know if we need to know, but it's just a notable. But they're having a good conversation. It's good.
Thing.
Right. I mean, like, I don't want you to do it if it's gonna like affect you in terms of like just your health and like your mood. I just have to wear, I don't know, condoms or something. Like, I don't know, but like.
I mean, I think like that's what I want to go with, I think.
Yeah, okay. I couldn't tell by his wording if they are going to wear condoms or he has been. I think he said he has been. I don't know.
Do you enjoy condom sex?
Yeah.
Really?
Some of my best sex has been on a condom.
Huh. Okay.
I think we could definitely have condom sex and it'd be fine. How do you feel about that?
Well, now I'm wondering if they're talking about future condoms, which makes me think that their current measures are no contraception at all. I don't know. He asked her, do you like condom sex? It kind of sounded like what he was expecting based on his experience with other women, that she was going to say, no, I don't like condoms. There's a lot of different preferences here from both sides. You'll hear a lot of different kinds of things, and there's a lot of different factors. And she is saying, yeah, I think condom sex is great, and some of the best sex I've had has been with condoms. And then he's like, I think he's saying, hopefully he can say how he feels instead of being passive. It sounds like he is passively saying that he does not like condom sex, which is okay. It's good. Meaning that he would say, if you can go on the pill and have it not affect you too negatively, it would be potentially great for me. And he was hoping that she would also. Or she's saying some of the best sex I've had is with condoms. She's emphasizing that because she doesn't really want to go on the pill. I don't know. But yeah, we're having a good conversation about this so far.
Babe, this is bad.
It's the thing is like, yeah. It's not like if I wear one, it's just not.
Well, we can raw dog it. And like, we either have condom sex or we don't have condom sex, and we accept the consequences of not having condom sex, which sounds insane.
Okay, so she's like, hey, we can raw dog, and I think. Well, anyway, I don't know what they've been doing up to this point, and she's saying, if we get pregnant, then we get pregnant. And earlier they were talking about the timeline with kids, and she wanted to have kids a little sooner than he did. They were both basically on the same page. In terms of she was saying 2 or 3 years, let's have kids. He was saying more like 4 years. So it's pretty close. But I wonder if her timeline is more honestly like a lot sooner than that, and his timeline is, in all honesty, a lot later than that. But she's exhibiting that preference of just like, well, yeah, I'd like to have 2 or 3 years, but if we get pregnant earlier, I'm okay with that. He he has stated he's not ready. He wants to have more time in their relationship. You know, both plans are fine. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. So it's time for Thanksgiving. And in my family, we always have a really big Thanksgiving. My dad always gets us into a circle before dinner, and we hold hands and we each give thanks for things in our lives. And afterwards, I always feel really uplifted. Research has actually shown that giving gratitude is associated with a lot of positive mental health outcomes and also with positive health benefits like improved sleep and improved immune system. Therapy can be a great place to explore our gratitude. There are likely positive aspects of ourselves that we don't see that a therapist can help us to discover, and then we can have gratitude even for things about ourselves. Well, one place you can find a therapist is at BetterHelp. If you're thinking of starting therapy, it's definitely worth giving a try. So let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/Kirk today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Kirk.
But it's the truth. I'm okay if we got pregnant. What?
No, I'm just thinking through it. Yeah, so I definitely don't want to like put you in a position where like you're doing something that you don't want to do.
Okay, cool. So we can disagree to have condom sex from here on out.
It's not really enjoyable, baby.
Okay, so there's some things that we've learned about these two that can inform this conversation. I've seen Ramses have this demeanor before when they were talking about the politics in the military and that sort of thing. He has a mode that he goes into, which I wonder if it's helpful or not. It's kind of a distanced position. At least that's the way I'm perceiving it. Sort of a disappointed, defeated position or something. Because there's another demeanor that he could have right here of just like, oh, okay, well, let's talk about this a little bit longer. You know, like, how do you know what the bad effects are? Have you tried taking the pill before? Because if it has been bad for you, then yeah, we probably shouldn't do that. Or if you've tried it before and it was okay, or have you never tried it and so you just don't even know, what are we talking about? You know, let's talk about this. And, you know, of course, it's still her decision ultimately. He can't tell her to do one thing or the other, but, you know, I'm just pointing out there's a lot of different things he could be doing. Instead, it's kind of he sort of shuts down a little bit, and then he says that he does not like condom sex. And yeah, it can, for some people, be a drastic difference and negatively so. And he's communicating that. Now, it's possible that instead of it being a 10 out of 10, it's a 9 out of 10 for him, and he doesn't want to give that up. And so he's just advocating for that when the hormone thing for her, in terms of her overall life and health, could go from a 10 to a 5, and therefore he should just suck it up. But it's also possible it can go from a 10 to a 1. You know, I've known people like that before. So I wonder to what degree, and sometimes it's helpful to lock that down. I do this in my own life. I do this with my clients because it's not a matter of yes or no. It's a matter of to what degree is it a yes or a no, right? It's helpful to lock that down instead of, I'm not in their head, so what I'm hearing is that he would rather not have condom sex. Okay, but to what degree? And if she knew to what degree, it would help her. Now, it still might not change things, you know, particularly if the changes to her health are significant, and mood. You know, the hormones for contraception can have profound effects on one's body, on one's psychology, on one's libido. Now, you can dial in different levels and different hormones and that sort of thing, but it's not as simple as it can sometimes be talked about. So I just take the pill. So there's a sexism layer here in that traditionally in heterosexual relationships, men would say, I don't like the way condoms feel. Normally sex is a 10, and with a condom, it's a 9.5. So any little bit of my discomfort means that you now have to carry all the burden, and then the woman has to just completely upend their biology and their psychology and their libido, just because the man doesn't want a slight bit of sensation deficit or something, So that's another layer to this, but let's see what happens.
Sex is supposed to be like mutually enjoyable. Like it's not something that guys, ever have the pressure to having to think about.
Yeah, well, here's the pressure. I'm not gonna go on birth control.
Okay.
Yeah, it's possible that is the best choice given all of the considerations, but the way that they're talking about. So the other thing we've learned from Marissa and from the mom of Marissa is that Marissa can be bossy. And we also learned from Ramses that behind the scenes she was being bossy, and Marissa was agreeing with that. So maybe they'll recover from this conversation and have a more nuanced one. And Ramses is responding well. It's like, well, okay, I guess then there you are. So, but I would really hope that they could have a much more detailed, caring conversation. That even if she was rigid in this moment, which maybe she has good reasons to be, there's a different way to say that, of just like, I don't want you to have a deficit in pleasure when we're having sex because of condoms. It sounds like that's the case. Personally, I would ask, like, to how much? What are we talking about here? But the pill is something that I just, for these reasons, I just cannot consider. I don't want to consider. I don't want to take it. And so, sorry, but is it okay if we move forward with other options? You're holding your ground. You're drawing a boundary. You're sticking up for yourself, but you're not just like barking at someone and saying like, tough shit, pal.
Yeah, well, here's the pressure. I'm not gonna go on birth control.
Okay. Sounds good, baby. We need to do what we need to do, but I need the sex to be enjoyable.
Yeah, and then he says, I need the sex to be enjoyable. There's so many questions. I'm still not clear if they have already been using condoms, but to what degree is it not enjoyable? I mean, like I said, for some people, condoms means no sensation. You don't feel anything. I mean, that's not typical, but it can, or at least significantly lower sensation. There are things you can do. There's techniques with condoms, brand or lubrication or what you're doing in the sexual act that can change things, or just various other things you can do. But yeah, we're not getting into any of those details. So, and it's tempting from the outside to take a side or to judge them or something, but we just don't know. They're not giving us that information. It's fine that they're not. It's a reality TV show. Probably don't want to go into detail about all of these things for the camera. So I would just hope that they off camera could have a much more detailed, caring conversation about it. It could still end up in the same place, but like if she explained to him, here's why I cannot take the pill. This is why I'm drawing a boundary at that. I'm guessing it would feel better to him. He'd be like, oh, okay, well, then I'll do what it takes. I understand now. I get it. I don't have the opportunity in my mind right now to just assume that you just are selfish and don't give a shit about my experience. You're not willing to even try something, I wonder, but I don't know. He seems like he's adjusting, so maybe everything will be fine. Oh, the other thing is that the other layer here is there could be, I don't think this is true, but it could be, that for Marissa, she wants to have kids earlier, and she might kind of worry, the way that they were talking, that it's not going to happen anytime soon. And so she's like, hey, if you want to enjoy our sex life, you're going to have to do it my way, which means that you're going to have to roll those dice. I'm not going to conspire against you, but if you want a raw dog, because she even said that, she's like, hey, you want a raw dog? She almost said, like, right now, let's do it. Then maybe this is either a conscious or an unconscious way for her to speed the timeline. I also don't think this is it, but it also could be a way of testing his resolve for the relationship. There's also the layer that she is a little bothered by the way that he was saying the timeline for kids was longer. And for her, she felt like he was winning that debate or that decision. You know, she had to accommodate him in terms of the timeline being longer than she wanted it to be. And so when they transition to contraception, she's thinking, okay, now it's my turn to win. I don't know. There's something going on here that is causing the two of them to have a hard time having a nuanced conversation. It doesn't have to be a super long conversation. Just some additional detail communicated to the other person, I think, could help. All right, well, let's adjourn there. Tune in next time when I continue watching. And everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.